Hello guys, welcome to my channel Internet Journey. We people are struggling a lot due to this coronavirus pandemic and we have to struggle. And the people who are thinking this is a scary situation, they need to know about Spanish flu pandemic in 1918. So in this video I will tell you about Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. I won't go into deep of Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. If you want to go deep, you can go to Google and check out there. In this video I will give you a brief picture of Spanish flu in 1918. And I will give you a few more comparisons of at that time situation and present situation. If I go into deep, no one will see this video, I know that. So without wasting time, let's start the video. A century ago, a strain of the flu traveled throughout the entire world, infecting 500 million people. That means 1/3 of the world's population. By the end of the 15-month pandemic, at least 50 million people were dead, with some estimates being as high as 100 million also. And there is a reason why this virus is called as Spanish flu. The reason is Spain's population was hit hard with the virus, infecting even the king of Spain. The Spanish press was not censored and the king illness was widely publicized. The Spanish flu came in 3 waves. The first wave of the flu, while it infected lots of people, was rarely lethal, often referred to as the 3-day flu. The military reported that the virus was over by July of 1918. And the second wave was far more intense than the first wave. In fact, it was deadly. It possibly started in Switzerland but infiltrated the United States in September of 1918. The third wave begins in January of 1919 because most people thought the second wave was over and had eased precautions. And because of the mass celebration of Armistice Day 1919, a third wave of the Spanish flu began to spread. It too was deadly but did not kill as many people as the second wave. The virus had lost some of its potency, human immune system recognized it now, and it was no longer strong enough to invade the lungs, so it became a seasonal influenza virus. Why this flu was so deadly? The Spanish flu was different from other influenzas. First, it attacked not just the upper respiratory system but the lower one as well, making it more contagious and deadly. And the patients in the second wave of the flu often died within hours, according to a physician working at the Devens Hospital filled with influenza patients. So what are the advantages we have now that we didn't have in 1918? So we now have drugs, antivirals and medicines that did not exist 100 years ago. And our society can communicate quickly with other agencies and other countries and health organizations to monitor disease and develop strategies to minimize the spread of disease. And the hospitals have more awareness of how to effectively quarantine infected people and prevent further contagion with biohazard protocols. And the United States has 1.1 million physicians. In 1918, there was a shortage of medical personnel because of the number of doctors and nurses serving the military overseas. And what we can learn from mistakes made during the 1918 pandemic. In 1918, many cases were diagnosed at first. The lesson we can learn is to be aware of new threats, careful not to diagnose quickly. In 1918, because many countries were at war and the press was censored, very little information go out. In fact, the Sedition Act of 1918 expressly prohibited people from doing anything that might slow down the manufacturing of goods for the war. And the press could not discuss the pandemic outwardly because people might be afraid to go to work. Newspapers might be accused of printing something detrimental to the needs of the government. So many public officials, newspapers and magazines refused to run stories about the danger or letters from doctors pleading with people to stay home. Finally, in 1918, the New York City Health Commissioner came up with an innovative strategy to try to slow the progression of the flu. He ordered businesses to open and close on staggered schedules to avoid overcrowding on the subways. The lesson here is that there's a lot of ways we can plan to reduce the spread of a pandemic. If it comes to that, we can hope that we can be as innovative as that New York City Health Commissioner and devise new ways to eliminate the spread of diseases. Hopefully, the great minds of the world are working on a universal vaccine that will fight most influenzas and keep pandemics from occurring in the future.